took me a moment to realize that I had taken a wrong turn. It was an ordinary Friday night, of which I had hundreds already. A tired brain, a sore back from sitting at a computer all day, a dull desire to get home and pass out. At first, it was still bearable. I drove slowly, occasionally glancing at the GPS, sipping long cold coffee from a thermocup. The car rumbled habitually, like an old cat. Everything was fine, until the warning appeared. Traffic jam, 12 km. I sighed heavily. There was a line of brake lights in front of me, and a thought flashed through my head. Maybe there's a detour? An alternative path appeared on the navigator's screen. A thin gray line winding through a forest area. I've never been there, but it seems to take a shortcut of almost half an hour. Why not? After half an hour, I began to regret it. First, the connection disappeared. Even the emergency network icon was gone, as if the phone had gone blind. Then, the GPS froze, as if frozen in time. I was driving, and the arrow was still in place. The road under the wheels was getting narrower and worse. The smooth asphalt was replaced by a cracked surface, with holes and potholes in some places. The forest was thickening all around, tall, gloomy, almost aggressive. The trees grew too close to each other. Their branches seemed to intertwine into some kind of living dome. The light barely penetrated through the leaves, even though the sun had not yet set. I caught myself thinking that I hadn't seen a single fork in the road for 10 minutes. Not a single pointer, not a single car, not even an abandoned one. Just me, my Toyota, and the road, like a black thread leading somewhere deep. And suddenly, a jolt. The car jerked sharply, the headlights blinked. The panel flashed all the lights at once and went out. I cursed and tried to start the engine, and there was a click, not a sound. No starter whirring. Not a single light. Complete, absolute silence. That's how something bad starts. I knew it in my gut. The forest seemed to freeze around them. Even the wind had disappeared. The leaves did not move. There was no bird song, no mosquitoes, no creaking trees. Just my pulse in my ears and the feeling of being watched. I got out of the car. The air was damp and putrid, as if saturated with mold. The smell is like in the basement of an old house that has long been forgotten. I took a flashlight from the glove compartment and, old, reliable one and walked along the road. 5 minutes, 10, 15, and the car again. I was sure that I was only going forward. What the hell? I whispered. I decided to try going back the other way. I walked for a long time, already with a chill in my back. With each step, the feeling of wrongness grew stronger, and again, the car, the same one. It stands like a monument, only now the door was ajar. I definitely closed it. My heart sank. The lantern began to blink. I turned around and saw him. At first I thought it was a man, tall, thin, standing between the trees. He didn't move. I was just watching through me. It was like I was glass. I took a step back. The lantern flickered and went out. I do not know how long I stood in the dark. Maybe a minute, maybe an hour. When it turned on, the figure was gone. But she left a mark behind a strange smell, like wet metal and rotting wool. It hit my nostrils like a rusty nail. I got back in the car. He slammed the door. It's closed. Sat. I listened. And then it started. At first, a quiet hiss, like static electricity. It was as if the radio was picking up the rustle of other people's thoughts. Then a scratching sound. From under the car, out of the trunk, from the ceiling. It was like someone was scratching inside, trying to get out. And then I heard a voice. He didn't sound with his ears. He was hitting me right in the skull, cold, inhuman, emotionless, like the rasp of metal on glass. You took a wrong turn. I screamed. I tried to get started. He hit the steering wheel. He screamed. He prayed. He was crying. And suddenly, the light. Morning. I woke up in the car, in the same place. The sun was shining through the leaves, and the birds were singing. The panel was glowing again, as if nothing had happened. I got turned on the first time. The GPS came to life. The connection is back. I drove off the damn road like I was on autopilot. I was home an hour later. I thought there was a glitch. The T, a hallucination, overwork. It seems to be over, but it didn't end. There was an inscription on the windshield, written in something greasy and sticky. I'm here now. Since then, the problem started. The light is blinking in the house. Electronics are going crazy. The security cameras turn off at 3:11 a.m. every night. Strange spots appear on the walls, like shadows. One day, I woke up and found footprints on the floor, wet, long, as if someone had crawled. I live alone. The psychiatrist said it was stressful, that I'm close to breaking down. But he did not see how my dog, whom I had taken from the shelter, refused to enter the apartment and hid under the porch, howling at my door. I saw him again. This man, if he's even human, he's standing at the end of the street, right under a street light that's always blinking. Sometimes I see his reflection in the bathroom mirror. Sometimes it's on my phone screen when I take selfies. He's nearby. He's watching. And the worst part is that sometimes I forget that he was ever outside, because now I can hear his whispers from inside, from the basement, from the closet, out of my head. He's not just stalking me. He's waiting for me to take another wrong turn. I don't like to stop on the way, especially at night, especially when I'm alone. But sometimes there is no choice. It was a long day. I was driving from a business meeting in a nearby town, and I'd been driving for over 5 hours. The rain started to fall somewhere in the middle of the route, then began to pour like a bucket. The asphalt glistened like oil. The worn-out wipers could barely cope, lulled by their creaking. I felt sleepy. It was at this point that my navigator suggested an alternative path. The main highway was overloaded. There was an accident ahead, a 40-minute detour. And here's a country road, straight, short, with almost no traffic. On the screen, it looked like an ordinary rural road connecting two highways. The line on the map was flat. No warnings, no oddities. I turned off. At first, everything was fine. Wet but firm ground, fields overgrown with grass on the right and left. Visibility was poor, but the headlights picked out a narrow corridor. I drove carefully. The clock showed 10:03 p.m. 10 minutes later, the markings disappeared. 15 minutes later, all signs of civilization had disappeared. No poles, no houses, no signage. The forest began all around, sparse at first, then dense as a wall. It was as if the car had entered a tunnel. The network signal is gone. The GPS is frozen. I slowed down. The check engine light on the dashboard blinked on. That was just not enough. After a couple of minutes, a strange thing began. There were footprints on the road, right in the center. between the potholes, as if from something heavy dragging on the ground. And also, like claws, deep furrows, like from an iron rake. I decided to turn around, but the road has become too narrow, too viscous. The mud clung to the tires as if it were alive. The car began to move with difficulty, as if through swamp mud, and suddenly, a thud. I jumped up. Something hit the bottom, as if someone had poked the car with his head from below. The panel blinked and went out. Oh, the end of the world. I turned off the ignition and waited. Silence. Only the drumming of the rain on the roof. I tried to get started a couple of times, to no avail, and then I heard someone coming. The steps were slow and heavy. At first, I thought it was a moose or a wild boar. Then what? Maybe a man? But the steps were wrong. There was no clear rhythm, like a creature with multiple legs or one. I froze, not breathing, listening. They were getting closer. The mud squelched. They came closer and closer, and suddenly everything stopped. It was as if whatever was walking had stopped to step away from the car. I dared to look out the window. At first I saw nothing, just my own reflection. Then there's the other person behind mine, pale, elongated, with empty black eyes, without pupils or eyelids. It was smiling. Her lips were thin and long, as if they had been painted with charcoal. I recoiled. The cold hit my face. I looked again, but there was nothing. No face, no figure, just the fog in the forest. I tried to start up again. The car responded. The panel flashed. The light turned on. As if by magic, the engine purred. I stepped on the gas. The road seemed to lengthen. I drove and drove, but nothing changed. The navigator did not come to life. The time on the panel is frozen 10:03 p.m. as before. I started counting the poles along the road. There were 9 of them. Then it's 9 again. And again. I checked. It's the same number. I was driving in a circle. Soon I noticed a car on the side of the road. It was broken, rusty, and almost completely swallowed up by moss and branches. I went out. He came over. It's empty inside. Only there are keys on the driver's seat, exactly the same as mine, and a photo. The face is mine. Only the eyes in the picture were black, like the creature's. I don't remember how I got back. At some point, I just woke up at home, sitting at the wheel, in the parking lot in front of the entrance. It was already night. The car was working. The panel showed 10:03 p.m. I looked in the rearview mirror. He was there. He was sitting in the back seat. That's the one. He looked into my eyes through the mirror. I turned around, but there was no one there. But he stayed in the reflections, in the screens, in the windows. 3 months have passed. I don't drive anymore. I don't go out of town anymore. But it doesn't help. He comes in dreams. Sometimes I wake up and the clock always shows 10:03 p.m. Sometimes I hear footsteps under the floor. Or I see myself smiling in the mirror, but not in reality. Sometimes I lose time. I wake up somewhere on the road, in the car, with dirt under the nails. And a voice in my head whispers, "You didn't leave. You just think you're gone." Every time I wake up there, on the dirt road, with an empty tank and silence, and footsteps in the dark, I do not know what the reality is. But if you ever see a short road through the woods on your navigator at 10:03 p.m. and you think, I'm going to take a shortcut. Don't turn off. He's waiting. It's been, I do not know how long. The concept of time has disappeared. I wake up in the car every night, on the side road. The clock is still the same 10:03 p.m. The headlights cut through the fog. The forest is silent as a grave. I'm going in a circle, over and over again. At first, I screamed, tore my hair, and hit the steering wheel. Then he resigned himself. The car starts. I'm going. The road repeats itself. But one day, something changed. I was driving again, for the umpteenth time, on autopilot. The rain was pounding on the glass like the chime of a clock. And suddenly the light from the side, in the side, forest, a glimpse of something, warm, alive. I turned off, almost mindlessly. It was as if someone had pushed him. The car got stuck in the mud. Then on foot, I walked through the dark woods, clutching a flashlight. Branches crunched underfoot. But instead of fear, I felt a strange expectation. The light turned out to be a house. It was small, lopsided, and made of wood. Yellow lamplight was streaming from inside. It's like an old TV. The door was open. There is silence inside. And myself, sitting at the table, older, gray-haired. His eyes are bleary, like those of a dying man. He looked at me as if he was waiting. "You've been a long time," he said hoarsely. "You've been messing around for a long time." I couldn't say a word. He nodded towards the wall. There was a mirror there. It's big and dusty. I walked over. I wasn't in the reflection. Just him. And that one, another. The creature was standing behind him. Still the same pale. Elongated, with coal-black eyes. Only now his face was mine. The smile is recognizable, but alien. Curved too wide. I recoiled. "You're not human anymore, boy. You've been given a choice. You turned off. You're part of the road now." He handed me the keys. "There's an old ring on the keychain." I was definitely losing him. Now, it's your turn to be the one who greets. The dirt road requires sacrifice. But he also gives a way out once, in the end. And then I understood. This is not a road. It's a trap. Not physically, but consciously. This place gets stuck in you, grows like a tumor, until you become a part of it, or her servant. Since then, I've been different. I'm standing on the road. Sometimes it's just a silhouette in the fog. Sometimes there is a voice in the navigator suggesting a shortcut. Sometimes it's a face in the rearview mirror. I see you. You reading this. Do you think it's just a story? Campfire stories? A made-up story? No, it's a loop. And if one day you see a strange road in the navigator at 10:03 p.m. and decide to turn off, I'll be waiting for you there. We'll look in the mirror together. I always thought that fear was something drastic. Horror in the forehead. A shadow leaping out of the bushes, screeching, blood. But real fear is slow, like a dank fog that invisibly penetrates under clothes. At first, you just feel uncomfortable, and then suddenly you realize you're standing alone in silence and nothing happens. And that's the creepy part. I was returning home on Friday evening. The sun had long since sunk below the horizon, leaving only darkness and the cold glare of headlights. I was driving along a country road. It's too late to be on the road, too lonely to feel safe. When the gas light came on, I cursed and immediately started looking for the nearest gas station. The navigator showed 32 kilometers. I'll get there, I thought. Of course, I didn't make it. A few minutes later, the car jerked, stalled, and everything went quiet. Only the headlights continued to shine at nothing. I pressed the ignition button to no avail. Phone 6% charge, without mains. Great job, sleeping in the car. Well, sometimes. Reclined the seat and wrapped himself in his jacket. I don't remember falling asleep, but I remember waking up. A knock on the glass. A female silhouette in the glare of the headlights. Hi. Raincoat. Hair in a bun. Is everything okay? The voice is cold, as if from a dream. I'm out of gas. There is no connection. I think I'll wait until morning. I have a house nearby. It's warm in there. There is tea. I can take you in. And she smiled, not kindly, simply, clearly, as if it were necessary. I should have refused, but the cold pressed down. The phone died, and the night seemed endless. I agreed. Her car is old and battered. The smell inside is tart and old, but it's safer than on the highway. Her house was in the woods. Lonely, 2-story, wooden. It's not old, but it's timeless. It was as if he had been transported from the last century. No satellite dish. There was no electric light, just lamps, candles, and a stove. The photographs on the walls are black and white, faded. Not a single modern detail. Lie down on the couch. I'll take you to the gas station in the morning. She went into the kitchen. Almost dozed off until I heard her voice. She was talking, but not with me. I crept up to the door. She stood in front of the mirror and said, "It's fresh, warm. The eyes are good. It hasn't barred yet." Pause. No, he doesn't feel it. Still sleeping inside himself. You can come in soon. My stomach clenched. I pulled back and pretended to be asleep. Later, when everything was quiet, I quietly opened my eyes, and I realized there was a mirror on the wall opposite, and I was alone in the reflection. The woman wasn't there, even though she just passed by. I woke up at night to a sound, a rustle, a creak. It's like something is scratching the floor beneath me. I found a flashlight and went into the hallway. There's a staircase down there. The door is locked, but the lock is broken. I went down. The basement was large. There were crates in it. The smell of burnt meat and mirrors. Dozens. All of them have different shapes. Some are cracked, some are dark, like a protracted swamp. It's not me in every reflection. Someone else. Men, women. Some are dead. Some are supplicants. I saw a folder on the table. Photo, hundreds, all with people who, like me, apparently once stalled on the road. Their faces are distorted with fear. Each photo shows a woman in black next to it. Different clothes, different years, but the face is always hers. I found an old diary. On the cover is Maria L. It's not her. It's a mirror. She is his mask. She was the first. Then it became a door. Now it speaks with her. It takes those who come, mirrors them, copies them, draws souls through reflection. The livelier you are, the tastier. Run away if it's not too late, but the mirror has already remembered you. I ran out. I tried to break down the front door, but she was standing behind it, without a raincoat, in just a nightgown, with empty eyes. "Why did you come down? Why did you come down?" she asked. "You, not a human being. I'm a reflection, and you are a wonderful vessel." She stepped forward. I threw the flashlight at her. At the same moment, all the mirrors rang. Their surface began to undulate, and I heard a scream of all of them at once. The cry of those who were stuck in them. I ran. I woke up in the forest. Hunters found me. The hospital said there was no house there, not a single building, not a single woman. Only my car is on the highway. And the strange thing is, they found an old photo card in the glove compartment, burned out at the edges. It shows me standing on the threshold of an unfamiliar house, and next to me is a woman in black, smiling. Since then, I've been avoiding the back roads. I always keep an eye on the fuel level, and I never, ever sleep in front of a mirror, because one day, in a hotel, I saw, in the reflection, I'm still sleeping in that house.